Hey everyone, it's Rich Tola, and thanks for tuning in to Tola Talks. Because who doesn't want to believe they still got it long after their curtain has closed? Well, we're going to be talking about that today. It's Movie Monday, and I'm reviewing the film Birdman. Went to see that yesterday with Michael Keaton and Emma Stone. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but let's get started today with a few celebrity birthday shout-outs. How about this first one? 21, Anna Sophia Robb. You remember her from Soul Surfer, the film about Bethany Hamilton, the champion surfer who got attacked by a shark? I mean, I love that movie. I mean, that movie for certain is a 2.5, maybe a 3 thumbs from me. Love that movie. So happy birthday to you, Anna Sophia. And Nicki Minaj. Everybody knows Nicki Minaj, 32, from Trinidad, the rapper. Let me tell you, I mean, in the year 2010, I lived in a building on a corner of Sunset and Vine. I call it the Glass Tower. I reference it in my memoir. You can go check it out. Well, Nicki moved into that building before she was Nicki Minaj. I remember there was all the hubbub about one of Lil Wayne's, rappers was moving into the building. Nobody knew who she was. And within 6 months, Pink Friday came out and she rocked it. I mean, I love that song. I mean, you guys know the song, Here I Am? I love it. So do you take me to be who I am, to have and to hold till death do us part? Because if not, then it's best we both part. Because how am I supposed to finish what you started? I mean, really, I love her lyrics. I love what she's all about. She does talk about domestic violence and how, well, you guys can, everybody knows her. Pink Friday debuted, actually, it was number 1 on the Billboard 200. Way to go, Nicki Minaj, 32 today. How about Sinead O'Connor? Remember the Irish singer-songwriter? Nothing Compares to You. That was a Prince cover song that she did in 1990. I mean, then I don't know if you recall, but in protest of child abuse by the Catholic Church, she held up a picture of Pope John Paul II on Saturday Night Live, and she was chanting the word evil in protest. That was in 1992. Remember that from Sinead. Who's 50 today? Terry Hatcher. Remember of Desperate Housewives? Yeah, she was actually in Tango and Cash back with Stallone and Kurt Russell. I remember that movie back in 1989. Loved her in that. One of my favorite of all-time actresses, Kim Basinger, is 61 today. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time was 9.5 Weeks, back in 1986 with Mickey Rourke. I mean, I love that film. You might remember from L.A. Confidential, 8 Mile, right, with Eminem. She did a great job. Way to go, Kim, on being 61. And 61, well, rest in peace, Sam Kinison, one of the greatest, I think, comedians of all time. I mean, I loved him in Back to School. Talk about 1986 with Rodney Dangerfield. Remember the Triple Lindy? I mean, that was Professor Turgeson. Sam was amazing. Yeah, you know, he died at a young age, so we miss you, Sam. Another rest in peace, one of the greats of all time, one of the greatest American poets, most notably known for his music, Jim Morrison of The Doors. Yeah, he would have been 71 today. We know he died of a potential heroin overdose. Not sure exactly, but they believe that at age 27. And yeah, Jim Morrison, you know, he graduated from UCLA Film School in 1965. And then they say he moved to Venice Beach and he lived on top of a roof, the rooftop of a building of Dennis Jacobs, who was a buddy of his from film school. He says he wrote most of the lyrics to his early days, the early songs from The Doors, on that rooftop. And this guy, Dennis, said Jim lived for months on cans of beans and LSD. Way to go, Jim Morrison, one of the best of all time. Rest in peace. And yeah, what else? Oh, by the way, you know how they got the name of the group, The Doors? Alex Huxley. His book called The Doors of Perception, which basically talks about unlocking the door to psychopathic drugs, I guess. But way to go, Jim Morrison and The Doors. Created a revolution for sure. Good. On that note, let's kind of zip around the world real quick, get to a couple stories here, because I do want to talk about weight loss today. We're going to get to that because a friend of mine, well, we'll get to that right after Birdman, but let's talk about what's happening today. We'll call it Get Them While They Last. What are we talking about? Well, this is the week, December 7th to December 13th is National Influenza Vaccination Week. Oof, you got to get your vaccination if you haven't already. It's every flu season is different, they say. So they have different vaccines. There's a couple. There's a trivalent vaccine that affects 3 different virus strands and a quadrivalent vaccine. So I don't know which one's for you, but go check it out. But remember, out of all those that die of the flu this year, 90% of deaths are from those 65 and over. So if you're over 65, think about getting that vaccination. Yeah, the season peaks in January and February. So check out this website if you need to. It's www.cdc.gov/flu. Either that or you could stay inside and we'll see you again in March. I don't know, but no, really, you should get your vaccination. Don't mess around with that if you need to. I mean, I know my mother does every year, so go get it. And let's move on to this next story. It's called, is it Eaten Alive? I don't know about that. How about Squeezed Alive? We talked about this in a previous show last week. Did you guys see this? This special on Discovery Channel with this New Jersey dude, Paul Rizzoli. He was supposed to wear this contraption, kind of like suit of armor covered with pig's blood to get an anaconda to eat him whole. Well, they said it wasn't much to speak of, or it wasn't much to eat of. This 2-hour special, which only showed him for about 5 minutes being, they say, kind of squeezed by this snake. I don't think the snake did eat him, or it ate a little bit of him. I didn't see the show, but they talked a big to-do about it. But you know what I think? I think the snake has been on Twitter for too long, and he said, no way, I'm waiting for Kim Kardashian to get all oiled up and come over there so he could eat her. So he didn't eat the guy, but the guy did say that he had some gnarly cuts and some lost circulation in his arm. What are you going to do? Try to get eaten by a snake? How about this next one? I'm calling this PR gone wrong. I mean, what the heck is going on? This public relations firm from Austin, Texas. Well, they apologized yesterday. Well, they were all over Twitter getting criticized for their name. They called their name Strange Fruit PR. Well, why does that matter? Well, it's racially insensitive. How's it racially insensitive? Well, there was a song from, Billie Holiday in 1939 came out with a song called Strange Fruit. Strange Fruit, which basically references the lynching that was going on in the Jim Crow era for black men and women, right, in the South, okay? So this firm named themselves after, I don't know if after the song, but they said so much time has gone by that nobody should worry about the song. Well, guess what? People do worry about the song, all that's going on. There's two founders, Mary Mickle and Ali Slutsky. They said they had to change the name. Well, what I think they should call it is the Triple Slutsky PR, after the Triple Lindy. Yeah, go check it out. Back to school. I don't know. Anyway, how about this last story? This is a sad one because I remember this. We're calling this Strawberry Fields. Who are we talking about? Rest in peace. This is the 34th anniversary of the killing of John Lennon. Right? Remember this wacko, Mark David Chapman? I mean, he actually got a signature from John Lennon outside of the Dakota on the Upper West Side. I know it well, where he lived. And then he went out. He had his picture taken by Annie Leibovitz, did a photo shoot where he was nude with Yoko Ono. That actually, well, you guys know all about that. But Chapman went back. This was about 10 of 11, and they end up shooting him 5 times, hit him twice in the back. And John Lennon was pronounced dead on arrival at 11:07 in the hospital. So this guy, this wacko, he used a .38 special revolver. He was 9 or 10 feet away. I mean, there's a lot of wackos out in the world. He took his life away at the age of 40. Rest in peace, John Lennon, one of the greats, Beatles lead singer. Everybody knows that. So sad story there. But hey, we pay tribute to the best. Awesome. Good. On that note, let's go over to the movie Monday, Birdman. I went to see that movie because all the hubbub about it. I said, I got to go see it, right? Take a look. This movie cost $22 million to make. It stars Michael Keaton, majority Michael Keaton, Emma Stone, love her. Zach Galifianakis, right? We got Naomi Watts. I mean, Zach doesn't play a comedic role here. He plays a straight role. I prefer him in comedic roles. Naomi Watts does a great job. Andrea Riseborough, who I love from Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Wow, she's gorgeous. She studied at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, graduated there in 2005. We didn't see enough of her in this film, I will say. She played Vika in Oblivion. Loved it. This movie came out, well, it says it came out on August 4th and then August 30th and then, well, who knows, but it really premiered in October 17th. and then most recently November 19th. So it went through the whole film festival circuit. Got a lot of positive reviews here. I mean, if you're a Michael Keaton fan, you're going to like this movie for sure. I mean, he plays a washed-up actor who once played this major superhero. He was in 3 films, actually, or a couple sequels in the film. And he's kind of washed up, and he wants to put his family troubles behind him, and he goes on Broadway, puts all his money behind him, and is going to make this play. And starring in this, well, I don't know. Let's talk about it. To date, it's only made $19 million. Not a very big number for the way it's been out, especially what they're paid. But the users really liked it. They gave it an 8.7. That's right. I had 15,000 people that voted. Most of the people are between 18 and 44. 73% are men. So you got a lot of guys going to see this movie, or at least a lot of guys voting. That comes off of IMDb, the database. But again, Emma Stone. I mean, I think she looks awesome in this. She premiered in Superbad. Remember that? And here's a quick story about her. She said that when she got into acting at a young age, but she put a PowerPoint presentation together for her parents. This was in Scottsdale, Arizona, for her to move to LA to become a full-time actor. And it worked. And said finished her schooling and moved here with her mom. Way to go, Emma. Loved you in Superbad 2007. Liked you in Crazy Stupid Love 2011 with Ryan Gosling. But anyway, we don't see enough of you. That's too bad. But what kind of movie is this anyway? That's what I first asked. Is it comedy? Is it tragedy? Is it based on truth? Is it sci-fi? What is it? Well, it's kind of all of the above, really. It's kind of confusing. Does it take place in the present? Is it the future? This movie, right out of the gate, the very first scene, you sort of like the Zen-like kind of yoga thing going on, and right away, it's like it's not really believable, right? But is it believable? What's going on? Where are we? So right out of the gate, it's a little confusing to me, and it's a little bit unbelievable, which I potentially prefer believable movies. But they want you to believe that this guy does exist. I mean, this guy's got some troubles in his mind, Michael Keaton. I'm going to give away the movie if you haven't seen it already. But again, is it a believable story? But they want you to believe that it is, but they keep throwing things in there that make it almost sci-fi-ish. Well, not sci-fi, but anyway, but it's about this washed up guy, right? And why is he doing this? Why does he put all his chips, cashes in his money, and he says, I got everything? I respect that. The guy believes in himself, and he wants the second coming, so to speak. And does it happen? Well, you're going to have to see. But it's about the underdog, right? Talk about the underdog. It's that kind of movie. It's a bit farcical, but is it a little bit crazy? It's a little bit crazy. Is it wild? No, it's not wild. And it's not over the top. Is there any sex? Little bit. Not much. They reference it, a couple cool scenes. Ed Norton's in here, by the way. But Ed Norton sort of sneaks onto the stage. He rocks it, and then he sort of sneaks off. Don't see enough of Ed Norton as well, but he does a great job. Love Ed Norton. Everybody knows him. Been around forever. You want to see more of him? You want to see more of Emma Stone? You want to see more of the women in this film? I mean, the women are excellent, very dramatic. But again, it's a lot of Michael Keaton. If you're a Michael Keaton fan, on a scale of 1, 2, or 3 thumbs, you're giving it a 2.5. Talked to a lot of people who liked it. But when I was leaving the theater, I was behind these 2 guys. One guy really liked it, and another guy didn't. I can't say that I was one of those guys that really liked this film. No, again, is it predictable? I think the ending is predictable. I mean, it's kind of predictable, although at the same point, at the very, very end, yeah, it's not. So it's like, what happens at the very, very end? It kind of goes back to the beginning. Here we go again. Like, what exactly is going on? Is it based on truth? I don't know. To me, it was more confusing than it was not. Go take a look yourself, because the acting is tremendous. Like I said, Emma's great. Norton's great. Does a great job. The women do. But guess who I like for this role? If I had to pick an actor for this role, I'd go with Val Kilmer. I mean, that's who I'd go with. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit younger than Michael Keaton, but I would have loved to see Val play this role. If Val played this role, I would give this movie a 2 thumbs. But I'm not giving it. I'm giving it a 1.5. Not one of my films. I mean, I'm not crazy about this. And I wanted to see a little more wild streak in you, Emma. Like the role that you played, but I needed you to be a little more gritty, a little more wild, but I liked you in that role. There you go. Birdman, we go. 1, 2, or 3. I'm giving it 1.5 thumbs. And on that note, let's move over to a little bit of weight loss. Let's do it, because it's that time of year. And let me tell you how this came about. Okay, I'm in the gym on Friday. As you know, I go every day. Bumped into one of my guys. Give a shout out to David over there. My man gave me this idea. We were talking, and he says, I love your show. He said, but I want to hear you talk more about fitness, health, weight loss. He goes, because you're the expert. I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's got a good point there. I am the expert. How am I the expert? Well, if you ask Malcolm Gladwell, right, Outliers, he says 10,000 hours makes an expert. Well, let's put it this way. I've been working out for 40 years. No, there's no bullshit here. Let me show you a picture. This was when I was 11 years old, and I want to thank my father here. Good. Here's this kid, Rich Tola, at 11 years old, rocking it, right? I was rocking it at a young age because my father instilled that in me at a very young age. I was doing push-ups at 9 years old. I could bang out 100 push-ups. By the time I was 12, I had the President's Council of Fitness, Sport, and Nutrition. I won the award. Anyway, getting back to that, I spent 20,000 hours in gyms. I work out every single day. Love it. And now here's what I do. I get on the scale every single day. There's a lot of those that think you don't need to do that. Well, I believe you got to get on it every single day. You got to pay attention. If you don't get on every day, you got to get on at least Friday and Monday. And we reported last week about a story about how you weigh lighter. You know, you're lighter on that Friday. But anyway, Fridays and Mondays at the very least, so you can monitor yourself. So here's what I did. And we're talking with my man over there, and I said, anybody could lose 1 or 2 pounds. It's a piece of cake. Here's what you do. Just cut your food intake in half. It's easy to cut weight. Focus on the fruits, right? Eat your fruits. If you need a snack, peanut butter and apple. That's a perfect snack. Well, that's what I did. So I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose 1 or 2 pounds. Now, I weighed 151 Friday morning, okay? Exactly 151, because, again, I weigh it every day, and I pay attention. I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down to 149, which is where I really want to be. Well, I'm up a little bit because I've been eating, going to parties, whatever. So I said, I could do that. How do you do that? Cut your intake. So, had a banana, had an apple, had peanut butter sandwich. That's all I had all day, and coffee and some tea. All I had all day Saturday, trying to stick to that program. Was really hungry at 3, had a little bit of pretzels. Really hungry at 6, I had an apple and some peanut butter. When I woke up Sunday morning, got on that scale, which doesn't really matter, but I had already lost a pound, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm there. But the problem was Sunday. Sunday, I had a pretty good day, but the problem was I had to go to a party Sunday night, and the party was at 8:30 at night. I just got done teaching a yoga class, went over to this party. Well, guess what? I felt like a two-bit whore with a $5,000 gift card to Victoria's Secret. Why? Because I showed up and there was chocolate-covered peanut brittle, which I haven't had peanut brittle since I was 11 years old. I mean, I went crazy on this peanut brittle. It was peanut brittle, it was chocolate covered, there was peanuts, everything I love with chocolate. So guess what? And I knew it. Eating the food, I said, guess what? I'm putting that pound back on. I felt it. I felt heavier, went to bed 2 hours later. Makes no sense. But guess what, people? Here's the key. You got to be conscious about it. Anybody can lose the weight. You have to be conscious about it on a daily basis. And I was, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice last night's enjoyment, the gluttony. It wasn't even over the top, but I got on the scale today. I was exactly 151. The good news is I haven't gained any weight. The bad news is the work that I did on Friday through Saturday, losing that weight, I put it back on. Happens to all of us. It's really simple, people. You could easily cut weight, but you got to be conscious on a daily basis, and you got to stick to it. You got to be vigilant. I told one of my students recently about that. You got to be vigilant. You can cut back. I mean, the most recent diet I went on, I did a 6-day Snickers only diet. No bullshit. I lost 6 pounds. Way too much weight, but anybody could lose weight. Just cut your intake. Go to the coffee, go to the water, go to the tea, cut out the sugars, the salts. You know what to do. Just eat less. I mean, that's the way I do it. We're going to be talking more health and fitness here, and then I'm switching my Fridays, which are Freaky Fridays. We're going to go to Fitness Fridays because I really believe we can give you some things to do at home. If you haven't checked out my Stay Zen web series, there's some cool episodes there. But if not, we're going to give you some things to do, to work out over the weekend at your house, in your living room, on your bedroom floor. It doesn't really matter, because the key is you got to respect yourself with a daily fitness program. Be conscious of where your weight is on the daily basis. Pay attention to it. Don't be afraid to get on that scale. It's one of my episodes, Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Scale? And you got to stay true to yourself. But hey, if you want to be gluttonous, you want to overdo it like I did last night, you're going to pay the piper. So what? But the good news is keep the weight exactly where it is. Don't gain weight during this holiday season, people. Anybody can do it, or anybody could not gain weight. Wow. How we doing? We're looking pretty good, keeping these shows to 15 minutes. Got a great week planned for you today, too. Interviewed a restaurateur. Can't wait to show you that this week. Maybe another interview on track. So looking forward to it. So again, thanks a lot for tuning in. You want to check me on the social, you know where to find me, at Rich Tola, the website, richtola.com. On that note, I'm Rich Tola. And remember, dreams do come true. But hey, what do I know?